Well, good morning, guys. If you've been reading the headlines lately, you'd be forgiven for thinking that the whole real estate market is all factored on one number, auction clearance rates. But it's not. We're going to unpack it this morning. Stay tuned.
Good morning.
Good morning, Billy. How are you?
I'm good. Yourself? This is your
I'm
first
good.
one back,
First
co-host.
one, yes. First one back. I feel like I've got my training wheels on again. No, I don't. It's like you never forget how to ride a bike. But
Yeah,
yes, it's been nice to have a good few weeks off, that's for sure. Back feeling very refreshed and
good.
ready to rumble. Hit the ground running yesterday, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, look, I suppose even whilst you're away though, you're probably still seeing this sort of news-like headlines pop up on your Instagram, pop up on your social media. That's where a lot of people are consuming their information these days.
Absolutely. Auction clearance rates, it's like blah, blah, blah. I don't know why. Listen, I've never known why people think the auction clearance rates are the holy grail in real estate. I never understood it. We don't do any enormous, we certainly auction properties, don't get me wrong. I've done some whopper auctions in my time in sales, but it's not the holy grail, as I've said. It's not the blueprint for what's going on the ground in real estate. It's just one piece of the picture. It's one very small piece of the picture. Yet the news loves to, I know, we're always saying if it bleeds, it reads. Isn't that the truth? So when you report these abysmal auction clearance rates, people are like, oh my goodness, it's like the market is just falling through the floor. We're not
Yeah,
going to gloss it over. The market's changed. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. But auction clearance rates, like it's not the only marker in real estate land.
yeah. I think to summarize it well, auction clearance rates tell you how auctions performed. They do a great job of that. They don't tell you how the property market's performed. So the truth
Correct.
is, we've got some numbers for you this morning. If you're into your data, this will be intriguing to you. But for New South Wales, like from the last week, they basically realestate.com closed their data sets out weekly. So they go from Saturday the 26th of July through to Saturday the 1st of August. And there were nearly 3 times the amount of private treaty sales recorded in New South Wales compared to auctions. So it's 500 auctions reported, 1,400 private treaty sales. For Victoria, it was similar. It was 527 auctions reported, 1,319 private treaty sales. So it does get skewed. Like when you look at the actual numbers, there's a lot more volume in the private treaty sector.
And I've got a question. Who's reporting that? Because when you turn on, any of the news channels, or you're flicking through a paper, or it's popping up on your mobile phone on your social media, all we hear about is these dropping auction clearance rates. No doubt, because at the moment, vendors aren't coming to us saying, "Listen, Lisa, got a great idea. I'm definitely going to sell in this market, and I 120% want my property going to auction." We're not having those conversations at the moment.
Yeah,
It was my first day back after having a nice bit of time away. And I was catching up with a lot of my vendors yesterday. And a lot of them were saying, I mean, the question on everyone's lips was, what's going on out there? What's happening? Because it's probably not a good time to list. Because all these poor people have got to go by are these auction clearance rates that are being reported, which are not great. In fact, I think over the last few weeks, Billy, we just had an okay. I think you were mentioning something about the data was looking better last week
yeah.
than it has in the previous few weeks.
Like, look at
But
this. It
who's
looks like
reporting the private treaty sales? Who's reporting those?
100%. So this is from Cotality. Cotality is the biggest. It's like formerly RP Data, so it's comes from Land and Titles Office. That's where they sort of pull their information from. But ironically, clearance rates lift to a 3-week high. Now, the reason I just pulled this website up because you've got a bit of a interesting little website here where you can actually see the clearance rate. So the first line here is last week for Sydney, 49.7%. Then you've got Sydney's week prior, and then you've got Sydney's last year, same time last year. And that's the same for Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide, Canberra, and then the combined. So they're all sort of sitting around, look, 49, Melbourne 59, Brisbane 42. I guess they're all sort of sitting around the 40s and 50s. But I guess this doesn't take into account the properties that will then sell post-auction as well. Put a price on
pre-auction. So there's a whole lot of different scenarios here, guys, that make up the pie chart of real estate land. One part is auction clearance rates. That is just one part of the pie. Then we've got the properties that sold prior to auction. Now, that sort of data is not readily reported. Then we've also got properties that sold post an auction. So maybe they were passed in, but then they sold very quickly afterwards. Lots and lots of agents do not report that data. The data is only as good as the numbers that are reported. Then we've got the most amount of properties that we are certainly seeing at the moment in our marketplace are the ones that are selling private treaty. Now, that's not the stuff that is being reported on the news. So be careful where you're getting your information from. And when you're reviewing the property market, there's a number of ways that we recommend you do that at the moment. A much better gauge at the moment is looking at how long a property has been sitting on the market. So the days on market at the moment, we've certainly seen those expand. Listen, we're not painting the prettiest picture we've ever seen in real estate at the moment, but it's certainly not as bad as what people are making out. Days on market is one. What are some of the other markers, Billy? That what's some other info that you could give to people?
So, like typically known as vendor discounting, when a guide price changes in a downward direction, is an easy one to tell if a campaign's getting traction or not. I think I'm hearing from buyers that they are seeing properties come out with a guide, and then a couple of weeks later they're getting another call from the agent letting them know there's been a revised price. So that's obviously a way. Number of new listings coming on versus the total listings. So I guess if you can work out when you start your search how many properties are on the market in your suburb or in the area that you're looking at, use that as a benchmark. You can kind of work out with new listings coming on where the market's going versus properties that sell. That works out what the property market has done since you started looking, and then really just total volume. There's safety in numbers, so you can get a gauge on what private treaty sales are doing. Then you really start to understand. Otherwise, you're looking at skewed data sets.
That's exactly right. Spot on. So well said. So well said. But the big one there, Billy, that I just took away is new listings that are coming on. Now, the amount of buyers that we speak to in a day, so many people are saying to me, Lisa, we're just going to wait because we feel like there's going to be quite a bit of stock coming on. Now, ordinarily, spring, as we know it, is a big, we call it the spring selling season. That's when we see a huge amount of stock hitting the market. That's 3 weeks away. That is 3 weeks away. The numbers at the moment of new listings that are coming to market are extremely underwhelming. And that is what is keeping these property prices, particularly, look, we're reporting on the Northern Beaches, but I've got lots of friends in real estate right across the country. Many of them are reporting the same. There's just not a lot of stock on the market.
Yeah.
People are nervous.
Yeah.
Sorry, Billy.
Seasonally, it has to be adjusted anyway. So whatever new stock that does come on, that's normal. It's that time of year. So we've tracked the data since March, and it's down 25% in volume in terms of properties on the market for sale. So nominally speaking, that's 250, maybe 300 properties. So spring has got to make up for that plus more to balance out what's already come on.
Okay, so sorry, can I just recap what you said? So 25% down from this time last year, is that what you're saying?
From March, 4 months ago.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, see that's significant. So, and understand, guys, we had a budget in the middle there. So, that budget hit, and ordinarily, I think people out there that wouldn't really understand the property market that well would be thinking, "Oh, here we go, here we go. Everyone's going to sell. All the investors are selling. Everyone, it's all doom and gloom. Property market's fallen through the floor. Everyone's going to sell. And we're going to be buying property for next to nothing." We're not seeing that. Okay, the biggest factor that is affecting the real estate market at the moment is buyer confidence. That is it. That is it. And when that buyer confidence picks up, guess what? So does the market. And what is feeding this lack of buyer confidence at the moment is the media. It's the media that's put it scared the crap out of people, and it's purely off the back of a lot of those auction clearance rates that are being reported. And as we've spoken about this morning, that is one piece of the pie. That is one very small piece of the pie. Those numbers that are being reported at the moment are quite skewed. Make sure, guys, you're getting the holistic picture of what is going out here in real estate world.
Yeah, and the big, like, there's been obviously massive reforms to some tax and investors, so that's obviously disrupted people's patterns and thinking as well. But slowly that will return. I suppose it just takes time for people to work out what they're going to do, what the best way to move forward is. If we people
Absolutely. And also, I just want to finish off there, Billy, by saying that I think, naturally, because of all those new reforms that came out with the budget, naturally people would assume every investor's going to sell, and every new buyer, first-time buyer, is going to be able to come into the market. That's just simply not the case. We manage over 2,000 properties. Many of our landlords are retirees. We're obviously in constant communication with our clients, and a lot of them are saying, we're not going to sell because where else would we put our money? Someone who's sort of in their 70s and they're in retirement phase, they're saying, well, hang on, if we sell the investment, where are we going to go put the money? We're not going to put it in the bank. We're not going to go and buy shares all of a sudden when we've never played the share market before. So most people are just, they're just bedding down and they're just staying put. But it's certainly not all doom and gloom out there. In fact, it's been quite a busy few weeks in sales in our office. So be careful where you're getting your data from.
Yeah, it's a good summary. Well, I hope that helps. And for the properties that are being, like, the reason the stock levels have come off, if you're curious, it's the withdrawn. There's obviously a few components, but withdrawn listings make up properties
that's a big one.
They won't accept the price, so they'll hold. There's basically more properties coming off or selling than there is to new listings, so there's not a replenishment of stock. And then properties are, they are selling. So.
Agreed. Big topic. Hey, and if you really want to know what's going on in real estate, call your local real estate agent. That's the best way, because we're going to tell you the truth. We're going to tell you the truth, but that is the best way. Call your local real estate agent. They're going to tell you exactly what's going on.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a good day. Thanks, Liz.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
See ya.